Now, over 500 million computers may be at risk from a new software bug called Shellshock. It could give hackers a doorway, in fact, to all of our personal information. It's pretty concerning. And for more on this, we're joined by our technology expert, Anthony Slater. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
I haven't heard of this. What exactly is Shellshock?
Yeah, look, it's a bit complicated to explain, but what it is it's not like something that someone's built in order to exploit. It's just a vulnerability we've discovered. It's actually been around for about 21 years. We just didn't know it was there. And hopefully the bad guys didn't know it was there either. But it's just been revealed, and it could potentially allow people to get access to all sorts of web servers and computers, and actually, unfortunately, not only access, but actually take control of those systems as well. So it's ranked a 10 out of 10 in terms of the bad scale, which they use when it comes to these sort of things.
Wow, that's pretty scary. So how can we protect ourselves?
Yeah, look, so companies around the world are scrambling at the moment trying to patch this software. So it's using this old type of Unix system, this bash software is what it's called in the background. So they're trying to patch that software, and in the coming days, you'll see updates coming through on your computers, websites will be upgrading in the background. So just make sure you're keeping up to date either with your antivirus software or with your software updates on your computer. It's pretty much all you can do at this point, unfortunately. So
make sure you do actually shut your computer down on a regular basis, because that's how it triggers those software updates.
Exactly, and you can manually check as well. That's right. And I mean, you can do things like updating passwords and things as well, but really, until the software manufacturers come out with their updates, there's not a huge amount that we can do. But you know, as always, stay vigilant with this stuff and just keep an eye on things like your credit card statements and your bank statements, even your emails, to make sure that, you know, there's nothing sort of suspicious happening in that level. Because it is affecting everybody, it's almost hopefully like you're a needle in a haystack in terms of, you know, you're still unlikely to get targeted because it's sort of affecting the whole world at the moment. And there's a lot of IT professionals trying to patch this as quickly as they can.
Scrambling away.
Yeah.
One of the other concerns with regard to hackers is Wi-Fi, because so many of us use it when we're out and about with our phones and with our iPads too. How can we go about protecting ourselves from Wi-Fi hacking?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, so look, one of the main things that happens is with these public Wi-Fi spots, and these are happening more and more. More cities around Australia have free public Wi-Fi. But what can also happen is hackers could set up a fake Wi-Fi, and they might call it, you know, free city Wi-Fi or something, and you think, oh, great, and you connect and it looks like it's working, but everything you're doing through that network is actually being tracked and recorded and monitored. So always be careful when you're connecting to Wi-Fi that you know who has actually set up the Wi-Fi.
But how do you find that out?
I know. So say if you're at a coffee shop, for example, you know, ask them and say, what's the name of your Wi-Fi? Don't just trust that it's called free Wi-Fi. If there's one you've never heard of before, that you're just walking down the street and it comes up, don't necessarily connect to it unless you know that there's free Wi-Fi offered in that area. What you can also do is look for this thing called HTTPS. So basically, when you're looking at the URL at the top of your screen, if there's an S after the P in HTTP, that means that what you're sending is secure. So things like, you know, Gmail and Facebook and banking applications, etc., would have that. So even if a hacker was on the system, they won't be able to see what you're sending to and fro. So always keep an eye out for that. Or also a padlock sometimes will appear as well in the address bar at the top. That means that your information is secure. But, you know, I think people just get a little bit complacent and they think, oh, great, free Wi-Fi, and they start doing everything.
Well, you sort of do, that issue of trust comes into it. You just assume that if you are in a public area or in a cafe, in a hotel, that if they advertise free Wi-Fi, then that's what it is.
It's fine. Yeah, exactly. And it's being a little bit careful. I mean, if you want to be extra careful, you can get a thing called a VPN, which basically has like a
virtual
tunnel.
Private network.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that it?
Look at you.
Woo!
All right.
I'm all over
swap roles.
Oh,
yeah.
hey.
Exactly. That's the way to be 100% secure. Probably a bit of a pain though if you're just in everyday use. But that's right. I mean, I think people do have maybe a bit too much trust sometimes when it comes to free networks. But if you have got that HTTPS, then you should be fine.
Now, you're sitting down. I notice a bit of a bulge in your pocket, not from anything but your new iPhone, of course. A lot of concerns about whether or not they're getting bent.
I know. So I've got mine here. Let's have a look. No, it's still straight. Look,
Is that real?
You know, I think it's a bit of a beat up, to be honest. So Apple just released that they've had 9 people complain globally.
9?
9. They've sold over 10 million in the first 2 days. That's like 1 in a million that is actually happening. There are footage. This footage here has gone global. This is the same footage. And the guy to make this happen has put a lot of pressure on that point there.
Because I was reading on the internet as well that to actually achieve that, you'd have to be a bodybuilder to be able to do that.
I know. They were saying like 150 kilos of pressure. There was something crazy in order to make it actually happen. So I think with all these things, if it happens to you, then go and speak to Apple. Or if you know someone it's actually happened to, like in the real life, but just trusting things on the the internet. I don't know, be a little bit careful. These things go viral very quickly. Everyone's keeping an eye out on any problem that might be there because it creates news. But I think, the fact there's only been 9 cases of it globally with something that big...
that puts it into perspective.
I think so.
But Apple's share price hasn't been doing very well over the last few days, and largely because I think a lot of critics have been questioning the new iPhone, saying it's not really as great as they were making out.
I know, look, Apple's stock price has gone crazy well over the last few years and hit a high just pretty recently, just before the announcement, which it always does. After the release of the phone, it usually takes a bit of a dip. So I'm not sure, look, I'm not a stock expert, but I wouldn't be too worried about something like that. I think any publicity that's not positive is probably going to have an effect like that. But the fact they're selling so many of these devices, 10 million at $1,000 a pop, that's very quickly becomes a lot of money for them. So I'm not sure how worried they really are. But look, there's always these sort of things happening in the media. So, we'll wait and see.
And you're a proud owner of one as well.
I am as well.
Good on you. Thanks, Anthony. Cam.
What about you, Deb? You're juggling HTTPS's and VPNs, but
I'm
you
all
still
over it.
notice the bulge in Slack's pocket.
I noticed the important things, Cam.
Yeah. All right.